I'm just going to improvise something and see what happens. Hopefully you like it.
Universe, I suppose, properly should mean the whole thing, everything. But we tend to think of universe, use the word sometimes just to mean our Big Bang, the things we can see out to 10 billion light years in all directions. And in that sense, it's an honest, reasonable question: is this unique? Are there multiple ones? And there could be multiple ones in many different senses. It could be as simple as the fact that the universe is bigger than we think. It's much bigger than 10 billion light years across, and that there are big bangs going off in different places. And there are theories of cosmology, the so-called chaotic inflation, which actually has this as a consequence due to the work of Andre Linde primarily. Then there's another possibility, which is also fairly simple to imagine, just that this Big Bang is one episode, and maybe it followed a series of other bangs, and that our universe will make a transition into a different kind of expanding universe, and we're just living through a particular age. But then there are other possibilities that are a little bit more recondite, and that have to do with the application of quantum mechanics to the whole shebang. And in quantum mechanics, you can, because the fundamental quantity in quantum mechanics is not the individual particle or billiard ball, but is something called the wave function that describes all possibilities. You could have a system where the universe has a particle in it, but the particle is indeterminate whether it's moved there or here, and both possibilities are realized, and it's only when you observe it that you see it's either here or there.
So maybe both exist.
Both do exist at the same time, and only an outside intervention collapses the wave function so that the particle is either here or there. It may be that the universe, the big universe, the whole thing, is some kind of quantum mechanical superposition of different possibilities. In fact, it almost certainly is, because we don't have any other way of... I mean, that's the best way that I can understand quantum mechanics, is that is the case. Then there are even more exotic possibilities. The philosopher Robert Nozick has introduced the so-called principle of fecundity, according to which, if you can imagine it, it exists. Everything you can imagine exists. They don't exist in the same space-time. They're entirely separate. But whatever you think of, that is there, and that avoids the question of why are things the way they are, because whatever you can think of, they are that way.
You've talked about beauty as a defining characteristic of not only good science, but the fundamental structure of the world. Is the picture you're now describing a beautiful one?
I would say a beautiful theory is one that doesn't have arbitrary assumptions, that isn't carefully tinkered with to make it match observations. And this is not, to me, as beautiful as a theory which is so logically constrained that can only be one way. But we don't necessarily get all the beauty in life that we hope for. And you can't reject a theory just because it isn't as beautiful as you were hoping for. It's not entirely ugly to imagine that the answer, that the question why things are the way they are is answered by saying that they are that way just locally, and that there are different in other places. For example, the question why the Earth is 93 million miles from the sun, a theory that doesn't predict that might be regarded as an ugly theory because it becomes an arbitrary number. On the other hand,
it's real.
On the other hand, if there are billions of planets, as in fact there doubtless are, and they occupy a complete continuum of possible distances from their parent stars, then you would say that the beauty is perhaps there is a theory that describes the statistical distribution of the distance of planets from their stars that says what is the probability of having a planet of a certain mass, a certain distance from a star. That might be a beautiful theory, even though it doesn't say anything about where any one